Students, again I am here to discuss the ninth standard second chapter, that is the is matter around us is pure, right? So yesterday we class we discussed about what is a solution, what are the solute and solvents, all the definition we discussed with the examples also. So today we will again discuss about the solution only, what are the properties of the solution. So before studying what are the properties of solution, revise one more time what is the solution, what is the solute, what is the solvent. So these are very important to revise because we will not understand the properties without knowing the definition of a solution, solute and solvent. What is the solution? Solution is a homogeneous mixture, right, in which they do not have the boundaries of the separation. The boundaries of separation is not there in a solution. Example what we taken? Example what we taken? Salt in water. So that example you taken yesterday of a solution. So where we taken the example as solute as the salt and solvent as the water, right? Always solvent should be present in the greater amount and always the solute should be present in the lesser amount. So then only it is the possible of making the solution. If the reverse is there, it is not possible. Why it is not possible? It will not be the solution only. All solute particle will be remain, and as usual when they taken solute particle taken in a high quantity. Simple. शक्कर ज़्यादा ले लो पानी कम ले लो solution नहीं बनता. That is the reason we are telling that always water should be greater than the solvent, right? We taken one example of a water. Water is one example of a solvent, and solute, salt is one example of a solute. Don't think that these are only the solvent and solute. They are the example. Even the alcohol is one of the solvent, right? So there are many solvents. Petrol is one of the solvent. So these all solvents are there in a different, in which water is also one of the solvent. Then what are the properties of the solution? I hope you revised what are the definition of the solution, solute and solvent, right? Then what are the properties of solution? A solution is a homogeneous mixture. First property is that only. What is the definition of the solution? That only is the first property of a solution. Homogeneous mixture means when two or more substances combine together and they'll become a single unit, they are called as the homogeneous mixture. And the homogeneous mixture, they will not have any boundaries of the separation. I given the example in last class only. Take a water and add the sand in the water, right? So you can see that you can stir with the uh, a pen also or with a stick also stir it. What will happen means the whole all the sand particle will mix with the they will mix with the water droplets. But when they remained undisturbed, what happens means again all that sand particle they will settle down at the bottom of that glass container. But when you take the glass of water and when you add the common salt, that is NaCl salt, and stir it, after you keep undisturbed, the salt will not settle down there. Why it will not settle down? Because the sand and water is the example of heterogeneous mixture. It is not a homogeneous. But the water and salt is the homogeneous mixture. In a homogeneous mixture, we will not have any boundaries of separation. But here we have the boundary of separation. Means I can separate the water and I can separate the sand with the filtration method. But here I cannot separate the salt and the water which is mixed already. They become a single unit. They are not possible of the separation. सेपरेशन करने को पॉसिबल नहीं होता बाय द फिजिकल मेथड. केमिकल मेथड वी कैन सेपरेट बट विद द फिजिकल मेथड इज नॉट पॉसिबल टू सेपरेट देम. That is the first property. What is the first property? A solution is a homogeneous mixture. I hope you understood what is meant by the homogeneous mixture, right? What is homogeneous mixture? It is a mixture in which two or more substances they combine together and they become a single unit. And those single unit they do not have any boundary of the separation. We cannot separate them. That is the homogeneous mixture. Then the second is property is the particle of a solution are smaller than 1 nm, that is equal to the 10 to the power of minus 9. Means they are very small. The particles are represented by 1 nm. N means here 1 nanometer, right? So that much small particles are there of the solution. That is why we are unable to see the solute particles in that solution, right? In diameter, which cannot be seen by the naked eyes. Means, sir, why we cannot see the salt particles when they are mixed with the water? Why it is not possible? Why we are seeing the sand particles in the water, and why it is not visible the salt particles in the water? Because those salt particles, their diameter is around 1 nanometer. They are very small, up to the 10 to the power of minus 9 in diameter. They are that much small, we cannot see with our naked eyes. Means without using any of the gadget, we cannot see those particles in the solution because they are 1 nanometer smaller in the diameter. That is the second property. Third property is they do not scatter a beam of light passing through the solution. That is, they do not show the tidal effect. I will tell you what is the tidal effect means. What is the tidal effect? Simple. If you want to see the tidal effect, do one example. Uh, we can do the two examples also, but do the one example. Take a glass of water again. So again mix the sand dust in the glass of water, right? So after mixing the sand in the glass of water, you just stir it with the stick. You just stir it. Then after stirring, you just see that all the sand particles, they are merged in the water droplets. Means when they are disturbed, all the sand particles, they are immersed in the water droplets. They will not settle down. When they are undisturbed, then only they will settle down. So just mix it. Then after mixing them, all the sand particles, they are merged in the water droplets. You just take one of the torch, right? You take one torch and just put the torch before that or on that glass. You have to take either the transparent glass. Don't take the different glasses. You have to take the transparent glass only. Put the torch there. When you put the torch, what happens means you can see this reaction or this effect. So what is there? We can see in everything. We can see the ray of light passing there in even the empty glass also. It is not possible, right? You do that same experiment with another glass. Take one more glass. Take the water and add sugar or salt. Add sugar or salt and do the same thing. You put again a battery, a torch, right? Here, the path of the light is not visible. Only we can see the emerging light. You can see the incident light, but the path of the light is not visible inside the glass, which is the mixture of a salt and a water. There you cannot see any path of the light. But the mixture of the sand and water, you can see the visibility inside the glass also. This effect we call as the tidal effect. Means the particles suspended in the water, they will visible or they will make the path of the light as visible. That effect we are going to call as the tidal effect. You want to take one more example about the tidal effect means do one more thing. You just clean your house, right? You just clean your house. When you are cleaning your house, the dust particles is going to surround your whole the room, right? What will happen means all the particles, all the dust particles, they are going to surround in your whole room. Then after the rays of the sunlight, in which your windows and the doors, they have the holes, means the rays of the sunlight, they will come and they will fall in some way, but you can see the whole ray of the sunlight how it is coming there. Why you can see? because the dust particles, they are covered the whole room. Afterwards, you just leave it for some minutes, let all the dust settle down. Then after, you cannot see the path of the light. Again, what you do, you just again do the dusty of your whole room. Again, you can see the visibility of that path of the light. Means the path of the light is visible whenever the dust particles are also called as the colloidal particles. Those colloidal particles make the path of the light as visible. That effect we are going to call as the Tyndall effect or the tidal effect we are going to call. Right? Are you understood? The path of the light is visible with the help of the colloidal particles. The colloidal particle will be taken as an example as sand or even the dust. They are the colloidal particle. They make our light path as visible. That effect is called the tidal effect. But in a homogeneous mixture, there is no visibility of the path of the light. So that only we are discussing about the third property of the solution. They do not show the scattering of the beam of light passing through the solution, that is, they do not show the tidal effect. Means whenever the ray of light passes through the solution, they will not show the path of the light visibility. Means simple, how to write the third property in an easy manner. The path of the light is not visible whenever the light passes through the solution. They will not do the tidal effect, simple case. Then what is the fourth property of a solution? The solute particles cannot be separated by the filtration method. Filtration method, we cannot separate the solute particle. It is right, okay. In a solution, how to separate the solute particle with the filtration method? Filtration means you take the filter paper or the filtering materials. It is not possible. Means, can you separate the salt present in the water with the filtration method? एक कपड़ा लेके उसको फिल्टर करके निकालो साल्ट को बोलते इज इट पॉसिबल है क्या? नहीं, इट्स नॉट पॉसिबल. सो द फिल्ट्रेशन प्रोसेस इज नॉट पॉसिबल in a solution. Means we cannot separate salt mixed with the water, sugar mixed with the water. It is not possible to do the filtration method. Okay. Then the fifth property is the solution is stable and the solute particle do not settle down when they left undisturbed. That's the fifth property. That is also correct. The solution is a very stable. Means you disturb the water present, water and the salt, which is a mixture, is their solution. You disturb it, you keep it undisturbed, you cannot see any of the salt particle is going to settle down there. But in a sand case, all the sand particle they are going to settle down when they are undisturbed, right? But in case of sugar in water and salt in water, you cannot see any deposition of the salt and sugar particles inside the glass. So means the solution is a stable in which the solute particles, they will not settle down when the solution is undisturbed. That is not possible in case of a solution. So these are the 5 very important properties that is definite for 2 to 3 marks in the examination. A very important topic for your syllabus, that is what is solution definition, what is solvent definition, what is solute definition, and what are the properties of solution. It is a very important question for your examination purpose. Then what are the properties of a solution? Revise one more time. 5 properties are there, right? Which is the first property? The first property is the solution is a homogeneous mixture. Means 2 or more substances combined, they will become a single unit called a homogeneous mixture. That is the first property. A solution is a homogeneous mixture. Second property, the particle of a solution, they are 1 nanometer in their diameter. As a result, they are not visible to the naked eye. That is the second property. Means the particles of the solute are, they are very small, up to the 1 nanometer in diameter. That is the reason they are not visible to the naked eye. What is the third property? The third property is the path of the light is not visible whenever the light passes through the solution, and they will not carry the tidal effect. That is the third property, which is the fourth property. The fourth property is nothing but the solute particles, they cannot be separated by the filtration method, which is the fifth property. Fifth property is the solute particle will not settle down when they are remained or kept undisturbed. These are the 5 properties of the solution. So now we'll discuss about the concentration of a solution. The concentration is about the strength of the solution. Means how strong is the solution is there, right? I will give one example in an easy manner. You take a cup, right? A cup of a glass of water, a full glass of water, and take 2 spoons of sugar in it. Stir it. When it will mix up, it will become a solution, right? So after becoming a solution, you just take it, right? So you can see that the little sweetness will be there, right? And after you take again the same glass, which is already mixed with the 2 cup of, or two a spoon of the sugar, again you mix up again 2 spoons of mixture. Again you sip, again the taste will be, again the sweetness will be again more. Again do again same thing, repeat the same thing. The strength of the sugar or the sweetness of the solution, it is going to increase when at the point when the mixture or when at the point the solution is not going to form or we cannot add more solute to maintain the solution. So that solution we are going to call as the saturated solution. Again, there are two types of there in a concentration of a solution. One is a saturated solution, another one is the unsaturated solution. Means the saturated solution is nothing but it is a point at which we cannot add more amount of the solute particles. Means in that cup of water you can add the sugar until it becomes the solution. But at the point when the sugar will be more and the water will be less, what happens means it will not become the solution. So when no more amount of the solute we cannot add into the solution, that we are going to call as the saturated solution. What is the saturated solution? When no more amount of solute can be dissolved in a solution at a given temperature. At a given temperature means we take as the room temperature only, is called as saturated solution, right? What is saturated solution? It is the solution in which we cannot add the more amount of solute particles, because when we add the more amount of solute particle it will not become or it will not satisfy being a solution, because there, what is the solution? Solution means always solute should be less. We already discussed it. Solute should be less and solvent should be more. Right. So if the solvent and solute are there at point, we cannot add again more solute particles in the solvent. At the point, at one extent we can add for some extent, but at one extent or one level we cannot add more amount of the solute particles, because if you are adding like that means the solute will be more and the solvent will be less. As a result, it will not satisfy being a solution. So what was saturated solution? That only when no more amount of solute cannot be dissolved or can be dissolved in a solution, that solution we are going to call as a saturated solution. What are unsaturated solutions? When more amount of solute can be dissolved in a solution at a given temperature is called as the unsaturated solution. Means in the unsaturated solution we can add again more amount of the solute particles. At one level when we cannot add, that becomes the saturated, but if you are adding, that becomes the unsaturated solutions. So means the concentration or the concentration of the solution, in which we are again discussed about the two factors. One is a saturated solution. What is saturated solution? A solution in which no more amount of the solute particles can be dissolved in a solution, that is called as a saturated solution. And when a more amount of solute particles can be dissolved in a solution is called as unsaturated solution. You take, again you take the same thing, take the 2 cup of the glasses, in which you take 1 cup of the glass, insert with in that one the solute particles. At one level the solute will be more and the solvent will be less. We cannot add the more amount of solute particles now, so that becomes a saturated. But here you can add the salt, we can add the salt, so this becomes the unsaturated solution means you can add again the solute particles, right? At one level they cannot be added, that it is going to call as the saturated solution. So there are two factors are there. What are the saturated and the unsaturated solution? Remember by the simple thing, when more amount of solute can be added, they are called as unsaturated. When no more amount of the solute can be added, that is called as the saturated solution. So then what do you mean by the solubility, right? Solubility means the amount of solute present in the saturated solution at the given temperature is called as its solubility. Means how much amount of solute is present, means what is the mass of the solute, or how much gram is there, how much milligram is there. So this a gram is the mass of the solute is called as its solubility. Means how much amount of the solute is present in the saturated solution, that amount is called as its solubility. Even we can say what is the concentration of the solution, means a simple definition we can write. The concentration of the solution can be defined as, how to make this as a definition, I will tell you. If it is asked what is the concentration of a solution, you can write this definition very easily. The concentration of a solution is defined as the amount of solute by the amount of solvent present in the solution. Means how much amount of the solute is there, you divide that amount with the solvent. How? I will tell you. How much salt you added into the water? It's the water. How much salt you added? Right. Divide the amount of salt with the amount of the water. When you divide, what will be the amount of the salt that is going to be eliminated, and what is the amount of the water you are going to get? Very easy manner. Simple. If you take a 1 liter of water and if you are adding the 200 grams of the salt, so you delete the 200 gram of the salt from the water. Water is here acting as a solvent and the salt is here acting as the solute. So if you are doing the salt by water, it is called as amount of solute divided by amount of solvent. You can do this also. Or even one more is there, one more definition is there of the concentration of a solution only. You can tell that amount of solute divided by amount of solvent. That's one definition. Or even you can tell the amount of solute divided by amount of solution. You can take the solution directly, or even you can take the solvent directly. If you know what is the mass of the solute and what is the mass of the solute and solvent, if you know, means you can take the solvent. In some case what happens means we will not measure the solvent. Simple. In the first case I measured, there is a 1 liter of water is there and 200 grams of the salt is there, right? 1 liter of water and 200 grams of salt. So 1 liter of water, it is nothing but the amount of water. 200 gram of salt, it is nothing but the amount of salt. Amount of water nothing but the solvent. Amount of salt nothing but the solute. Divide both. Right? But in case if you don't know what is the amount of solution, or what is the amount of solvent, you only know what is the amount of the salt is there, right? So you don't know what is the amount of water is there, means the solvent. So that time you can apply this formula also, in which if you know what is the amount of solute or what is the mass of the solute, you just add what is the mass of the solute. Just take example as a 200 grams, it is an example, but you don't know what is the mass of the solution. You just measure whole the glass, what is the mass will be there, right? You just add into that solution. Divide the both, right? Divide the solute, amount of solute divided by the amount of solution. So then the remaining will be the solvent. Understood? Means when you apply this formula, you can find what is the amount of solvent, right? When you're dividing amount of solute divided by the amount of solution. If it is not given also, you can find out by the weight machines, right? So that is the case. What is the concentration of the solution is nothing but it is the amount of solute by the amount of solvent present in the solution. Here, the amount means mass or value. Means what is the amount we are applying here? The word amount nothing but it is the mass of the solute and mass of the solvent. Means how much amount of the solute and how much amount of the solvent we are adding in a solution, that we can find or that we can tell what is the concentration of the solution and what is the solubility is there. The amount of solute present in the saturated solution is called as its solubility. So now we'll discuss about the two methods of finding the concentration of a solution. So, right, how to find the concentration of a solution? We said that what is the concentration of the solution? We have discussed it now only. The amount of solute divided by amount of the solvent present in a solution, or the amount of solute divided by the amount of the solution in the solution. So, right, now what is the method of finding the concentration of a solution? By applying the formula, how to find the concentration of solution? There are the two methods are there. First one is mass by mass percentage of a solution. The second is mass by volume percentage of a solution. By these two methods, mass by mass percentage also we can find the concentration of a solution, or even mass by the volume percentage also we can find what is the concentration of a solution. First one is mass by mass percentage of a solution. The mass by mass percent of a solution is equal to the mass of a solute divided by the mass of a solution into 100. If you are applying this formula, you can easily find what is the concentration of the solution. Means mass of the solute divided by the mass of the solution. That is the mass by mass percentage of the solution. The second is mass by volume percentage of the solution. Mass by volume percentage of the solution. Right. So what is the mass you have to take here? The mass of the solute and what is the volume of the solution into the 100. So right, in the both cases we can take what is the concentration of solution. We can find very easily by the two methods of the finding the concentration of the solution. So in this today's class we discussed very important things about the solution, right? What is the solvent, what is the solute, and what are the properties of the solution. They are very important. 5 properties are there. Revise one more time, that will be very important for you. What are the properties are there, right? And what is the concentration of the solution, method of finding the concentration of the solution, what is the solubility is there. So everything we discussed there. In today what we discussed, in which the very important is nothing but the properties of the solution. There are 5 properties of the solution are there. First one is what is the property of a solution? Solution is a homogeneous mixture, right? Revise one more time. A solution is a homogeneous mixture. And the second property is the particles of the solution, they are very small, up to the 1 nanometer in diameter. That is the reason they are not visible to the naked eye. And even the solution, the particles of the solution, they will not visible the path of the light when they are passing through the solution. When the light is passing through the solution, the path of the light is not going to visible there in a solution case. So as a result, we say that the solution will not carry out the Tyndall effect. Tyndall effect we already discussed about. The path of the light is going to visible. We can take one more example of the Tyndall effect is the canopy of the jungle. Means in a jungle if you go, means you can see that in the daytime also if you go in a jungle, means there you cannot see any light there, right? Because they are covered with the thick leaves and the thick of the trees, and each tree will be very height, because in search of the light they are going to become so very long in the size. So in the ground section you will not see any amount of the light is there. You can see only the dark is there. But in some of the leaves gap the light will come, right? In some of the leaves gap the light, a ray of the light will come there and it will fall in some of the leaf gap. The path of the light is going to visible there. So that is even an example of the Tyndall effect, right? So you can take the example, the dust of the example also. You do this experiment in your house. You just you do the dusty in your home and just add the torch, right? When you add the torch, you can see that the torch path is going to visible. when the dust will settle down, the path of the torch is not going to be visible. You do this one today and tell me that is it possible or not of the Tyndall effect. Okay, right? Again, the fourth property is that we discussed about the properties of all these things. So it is very important the properties of the solution. So we discussed again about the methods of finding the concentration of the solution. So in the tomorrow class, again we discuss about what are the mixtures and what are the compounds and their properties also. So stay home, stay focused. Bye bye.